Okay. Welcome to this special edition of Go Vote Omaha, a candidates forum for Omaha City Council District 4, presented by the League of Women Voters of Greater Omaha. I am Terri Crawford. I am one of the co-policy directors for the League of Women Voters and your host for tonight's program. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization and does not endorse political candidates or political parties. Our purpose is to empower voters and to defend democracy. Go Vote Omaha primarily focuses on some of those policies and issues. And as a result of our discussions tonight and our discussions generally, we hope that you, the viewers, will feel ready to make an informed decision during election season. So our introductions to the candidates for our instructions tonight. So the format will be as follows. Each candidate will have a 1-minute opening statement, followed by questions prepared by the League of Women Voters. And then each candidate will answer every question and will have up to 90 seconds to answer. And then following all of the questions, each candidate will have a 1-minute closing statement. We will alternate speaking order throughout the forum. A timekeeper will signal to candidates when they have 30 seconds of time remaining and then when you should stop. Thank you. So before the forum, we picked the candidates and placed names in a hat, and then we selected randomly who would start. And I will introduce them now in that order. So joining us today are two of the candidates for District 4, Omaha City Council. We have Sarah Smolen and we have Ben Cass. Welcome to both of you. The other two candidates, Vinnie Palamo and Becky Barrentos Patlin, was unable to join us tonight. So we will start with a 1-minute opening statement by the candidates. And Ben, you are up first.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us here. So my name is Ben Cass. I'm running for Omaha City Council in District 4. I got involved in politics knowing that we need good people to get involved if politics is to work, right? It doesn't work unless we show up and get active. I want to see the potential of our city of Omaha really be unlocked. I want to see us develop as a city more equitably. I think we need to create, attract and retain talent. I know I'm pretty young doing this. This is my first public race. But yeah, so I'm out here, I'm running. There's lots of issues I'll be talking about today, but check me out and hopefully support me this coming election.
Thank you, Ben.
Yes.
Sarah?
Hi, my name is Sarah Smolen. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm running for Omaha City Council for District 4, which is South Omaha. At the heart of my campaign, our guiding principle is information empowers people to action. As a middle school English teacher, I've seen firsthand how incredible that moment is when the light bulb clicks and a student is empowered to act because of something they've learned. And as a city council member, I will use those skills to empower District 4 with the accessibility to the information needed to act. I've had an incredible opportunity to meet and hear so many people's stories through my campaigns. These stories have made it clear that there's work to be done, and I'm ready and eager to dive into the solutions. A few of my platform points are accessible government. It needs to be easier for people to get involved and to interact with their representatives. Safe and affordable housing, it is a basic human right, not a luxury. And repairing our streets and expanding the sidewalks so that our public transportation is more accessible for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you to both of you for those opening statements. So we'll get to our very first question. Sarah, we'll start with you. What do you believe are the biggest concerns for the residents of your district?
So a few of the things are, like, when I was trying to get involved in my city council and like contacting my council member, I found it was very difficult to find any information to attend a meeting, and those meetings were at 2 p.m. on Tuesday afternoons, which most people are working or taking care of their kids or picking them up from school. It was difficult to find information about what was going on, what was going to be on agendas, what anyone was talking about. And it was difficult, particularly for my council member, was not using the platforms that he has available to him in order to keep constituents informed and let them know how he was planning on voting or what his thoughts were about the things that Omaha was facing at the time. So I think the first thing we need to do is increase that accessibility by being more available to people and inviting them in and removing barriers that they may be experiencing that are keeping them from getting involved. Some other things, we are in a housing crisis. It is confirmed, we know it's happening, so we need to increase the availability of safe and affordable housing. We need to do more to keep people in the homes they are currently in by providing tenant right to counsel and eliminating source of income discrimination. Also promoting first-time home buyer assistance programs through workshops and ad campaigns, and just making it more accessible for people to have safe and affordable housing.
Thank you, Sarah. Ben, same question, please.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think right now one of the big things affecting South Omaha is the pandemic, and how are we going to recover from it, right? We've been hit very hard here in South Omaha, both our people, the meatpacking plants, and our small businesses especially. So we need to be able to come into the city council here and start our term really working on that recovery, making sure that we bounce back and do so in a way where we are strengthening our core city. I think there's large parts of South Omaha where it's hard to get groceries. I think that there is a demand for more public transit availability. And I think that we have some great neighborhoods in South Omaha, places like Vinton Street or the South 24th Street corridor, where we can really continue developing and highlighting those. I agree with Sarah that we need to make sure that housing remains affordable, but also safe. We just passed the Landlord Registration Act. I think we need good enforcement there, and making sure that is very accessible to our tenants. And then on affordability, it's going to be making sure that there's supply, and then tying that all together with making sure that we create those middle density area developments for housing along our public transit routes, places like that, so that people have all the things they want to do to work, live, and play in the city here in South Omaha.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2, and Ben, we'll start with you. What will you do to ensure a diverse viewpoint is involved in your decision-making process if you are elected to City Council?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Ultimately, I consider myself to be, a public servant and a steward of public trust, right? So for me, it is about representing the people of my district, the voices, and is representing on behalf of the entire city of Omaha. So I will be active in reaching out to local businesses, schools, unions, you name it. So it is something that matters a lot to me, and of course, all of the stakeholders here in the city. Thanks.
Thank you. Sarah, same question.
So for connecting with a more diverse pool to connect with in order to have the most informed decision-making process, I think that looks different for a lot of different people. There are demographics and communities that will only need an invitation, like, hey, please come talk to us, please do this, and they're ready to engage. There are others who are more hesitant, and so that's going to look different. That's going to be more along the lines of actively pursuing them, and probably over the course of a while, and establishing a foundation of trust so that they know that they're going to be heard, not exploited, and that their voice matters just as much as any other group.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3, and Sarah, we'll start with you. What do you see as the city's greatest challenge, and how would you address that challenge?
Wow, I think it's really hard to narrow it down to one the one biggest challenge that we experience. But based on what I have seen just while I've been campaigning and living here in Omaha, I would have to say, it's a tough one. I think we all have to get on the same page as far as like the actual state of Omaha. I think a lot of people like to act like the economy is fine, the housing market is fine. We don't experience issues with racism. And the truth of the matter is that it's a very different experience for each person. And I think we have to recognize that just because it's fine for somebody doesn't mean it's fine for someone else. And the sooner that we get on the same page and we establish that those are problems and we are going to acknowledge it and treat it with the attention and care that it needs, then we can begin attacking all of those various major problems that we have. It's hard to give one precedent over the other because they're all so interwoven together. But I think we first all need to get on the same page and be willing to acknowledge that those issues exist and we have to do something about it now.
Okay, thank you. Ben, same question.
Thank you so much. So I like to, when asked about what my top priority is or what the big problem is, I like to talk about how the complex problem challenge of attracting and retaining talent here in Omaha. I think that economically, we're going to be doing better if we have a strong labor force, whether that's people who can work remotely from employers out of the city or attract employers to build offices here in the city when we are attractive to people. I like to pick that because it hits on a lot of things, right? We are losing folks to other cities partly because our public transit requires people to own cars, partly because when students are trying to enter the workforce, there's not opportunities ready for them. So we need to work on making sure there's pathways there, making sure that we're promoting the arts, that we're investing in our neighborhoods, that we're reducing the need for car ownership and keeping our housing affordable, especially when it comes to remote work, and also just building out the infrastructure of, our internet and connectivity to the rest of the country. I think we're really prime positioned in a regional level to take off and be an amazing city that we all want to work, live, and play in. So yeah, I'd say that's probably my big issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, and Ben, we will start with you. As part of the budgeting process, the council may revise the expenditure side of the budget by increasing, decreasing, inserting, or deleting appropriation items. Which areas may be priorities for you in the next budget cycle?
Yeah, thank you. So I know we are looking at a lot of, I was actually going over the capital improvement plan this morning because I had some time to go through it. And so I do see that we are trying to do a lot of major capital improvements around our roadways, making sure that those spaces are going to be more transit friendly, whether that's bicycles, whether that's bike trails, whether that's public transit like busing. So you want to add a bus lane somewhere, right? You can't do that if there's not a sidewalk in place for people to be let on and off. So I think that's probably one of the concerns I see as more pressing, but also this is one of those things where I'm going to do a lot of research and get into it, and I'm sure there'll be a ton of other things that we'll want to have for ideas for how to make the city better and how to make sure that we are also using our resources wisely. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sarah, same question.
So when you look at the budget, it is an enormous document. I think it's over 400 pages long. And there is a ton of information there about every possible thing that we spend our money on as a city. It's hard to really narrow it down, I think, but one of the ways I think we need to begin investing into our communities is through mental health care and expanding access for everyone. It's even people with insurance struggle to find quality and consistent mental health care. And I think in that situation, consistency is very key. And even if being disrupted, I've heard of people who've been with certain therapists for 10 years and then their insurance changes and they can no longer see that person anymore. And that's just, there should be safety nets for situations like that so that people can continue to get the access that they need consistently. Without having to consider the financial burden that they might be taking on. We also need to be increasing the money that we give to nonprofits. There are many, many amazing nonprofits in Omaha that are doing incredible work and they're not getting the kind of funding they need to expand. and they're actually kind of having to fight the other nonprofits in order to get what little is available. So in looking at the budget, those would be my top two priorities of where we can start investing more, and then kind of from there.
Okay, thank you. Next question, and we will start with you, Sarah. So our country experienced some tension last year in May in particular regarding the George Floyd incident, and then also here in our own city with what happened with the Scurlock young man. So our question that we'll pose to both of you, starting with you, Sarah, is what role should the city take to reduce racial tensions?
So one of the things that drove me to run was the lack of response I saw to that particular situation, and sort of the very polarizing stances that people took right away without really stopping to observe what was actually happening. So I think for city government, we need to acknowledge that racism is a problem. The Douglas County Health Department labeled it a health crisis. And we, as a city leadership, we need to acknowledge that it's real and that it is embedded into every asset or every facet of our communities and the way that things are designed. And I think it also means that we're going through our policies and our procedures with a fine-tooth comb, eliminating anything that could be seen as racist or just cut out. I apologize. Can you still hear me?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh my goodness, that was frightening. Getting back on subject, again, we need to acknowledge that is happening, and we need to begin going through and identifying areas where there's racism built into our systems, and undoing that and setting up safeguards to prevent those things from happening again.
Thank you. Ben, same question to you.
Yeah, so I think that we need to make sure that our law enforcement is doing a good job working with people who are peacefully protesting, that we want to make sure that those voices are heard. As a city government, we need to be active in outreaching to our communities, all of them, whether it's South Omaha here, or is it North Omaha or West Omaha. We want to make sure that we are changing our rules around how our police officers are able to legally restrain folks. I know there was the roundup tactics that were used on the bridge protest that was thrown out in court, right? So we, as a city, we need to do better, especially around listening to people and managing people when they do have legitimate grievances and they want to express that. So overall, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of ground to cover. We need to acknowledge that history. We need to move forward. We need to do that together and working together as best as we can. So I definitely see a great future that we can go for as a city, and that needs all of us to be on board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Please explain your thoughts on merging the Omaha City and Douglas County government. That question goes first to you, Ben.
Yeah, so I have thoughts about this because it's where do we create efficiencies, right? Where do we create a functioning organizational unit, right? Where does it make sense? Because we don't want to end up where you do some merging and now someone who was being stretched between two different areas, or one area is now stretched between multiple areas. But we do the reorganization smartly. We want to make sure that especially as the city grows, there's more and more overlap between the city's management and the county. So I think there are a lot of reasons why that makes sense, but I think we need to be smart about it. And that is, I think, something that as I come to office, it's one of those things where once I meet with a lot of the department heads, talk to and see the organization and culture of our structure, see where that makes sense, and pursue it there.
Okay, thank you. And Sarah, same question.
I think that is like an enormous undertaking to try to merge the two together. I'm not sure at this point in time it would be the best idea. Again, there would be like a lot of logistics to work out as far as what departments are going to be responsible for what, and if suddenly there is more or less representation for certain parts of the county or the city. And then even when it comes down to our budget, you know, how is that going to be decided? Are we going to ensure that the things that people have been guaranteed are going to remain? There's just a lot to consider. And I think as far as Omaha, you know, Omaha's been expanding to so much of Douglas County lately, sort of been gobbling up every little corner of the county. And I don't think it's been the best idea so far. We have a lot of things that we still need to solve with the existing land that we have and the existing residents who live here. So to take on more before we're ready to, before we've ensured that our residents are happy and safe and healthy, I think we should just put a pause on it for the moment.
Okay, thank you. Our next question, and we will start with you, Sarah. So we've just finished 1 year of COVID-19 across the country. Of course, the logistics of working through COVID was difficult at best. So let's talk about, and please explain your position on mask mandates.
I am all in favor of a mask mandate. I think the science shows that it does reduce the spread of COVID, and that is something that has been the main goal as we are trying to navigate this unknown pandemic with so much information that we're not aware of at the moment. I've been teaching in public school since September, and we have masks on every kid all day. And we managed to suppress any outbreaks that might be happening within the building. Usually when a student tests positive, it's because they got it somewhere else from a family member or somewhere outside of the building. So I think even that alone shows that those masks work. And it's not a matter of suppressing any kind of right. It's a matter of community responsibility and looking after one another. Wearing a mask doesn't really hurt you. There's no science to prove that. And so I'm in full support of it and continuing that until we've reached a level where it's safe for people to be around one another without those masks in the way. I think it's also interesting to note that the flu season has been very mild because we have all been wearing masks. And I think that says something, that perhaps maybe wearing masks as a courtesy to others is something that could be continued even afterward through like flu season and things like that.
Thank you. Ben, same question.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I do believe that our local city government has a role to play when it comes to ensuring the population's health and safety and well-being. I think the science is very clear. Masks work. You know, I think that there's going to be a lot of agreement between Sarah and myself. I know one of the candidates who couldn't make it is running on an anti-mask platform, but I'm in favor because we know that, like Sarah said, you're doing it not just to protect yourself, but to protect other people, that we have a lot of people who are very vulnerable and that we've been hit very hard here, especially in our district. That at the end of the day, we have the experts and we have the science to know that yes, masks work. And then just on a large scale, right? Environmental danger and the danger posed by pandemics and large scale contagious diseases, probably the two largest threats facing our society at any given moment. So I think we may have not seen, even as we recover from COVID here, we may not seen the last pandemic, and the next one might be worse. So we not only need to be making sure that we get out of this and are in a good place once people are vaccinated, we need to get out there and make sure that we're prepared for the next time there's a pandemic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to both of you for those answers. We are now at the place in the evening where we will move to our closing statements. So each of you will have 1 minute for your closing statements. And I believed at the top of the show, we started with Sarah. So Ben, we'll start with, we started with Ben. So Sarah, you may take it away for your closing statement.
Okay, thank you. Once again, my name is Sarah Smolen. I'm running for Omaha City Council, District 4. The guiding principle is information empowers people to action, and that is exactly what I want to bring to City Council and to the residents who live in District 4. If you want to learn more about my campaign and my platform, you can hit my website, Smolen, 4 Omaha.com. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me anywhere there and reach out to me. I'm pretty good about getting back to you. It's kind of what I do all day as a teacher, a lot of emails. And if you can, volunteer, donate to my campaign. We can use all of the help we can get. We're a small but mighty army, and we're ready to see some change here in District 4.
Thank you. Ben, you're up for your closing.
Thank you so much. So yeah, so I'm a senior software engineer. I work for Go Vote Omaha, and I'm getting involved in politics because I really want to see good change. I've found over the last 4 years, I do really well in committees. I work well at, you know, these nuanced problems, these problems which are nuts and bolts and need pragmatic solutions rather than hyper-partisan ones. I want to be a good leader, and I know that I'm capable of it. You know, we need to improve our basic city services. We need safe and affordable housing. We need public transit, modern city government, accessible city government. We need to support our arts here, respond to our pandemic. So please find all the information you can about the campaign at bencast4omaha.com. And there's plenty of opportunities to volunteer, donate, etc. We could always use your help. And if you'd like a yard sign, we have plenty of yard signs. So please also contact us if you want a yard sign. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you very much to both of you for joining us tonight to allow us the opportunity to inform voters so that when they go to the polls, they have the information that empowers them and also allows them to make informed decisions. So this does conclude our forum for Omaha City Council District 4 primary election. The League thanks both of you candidates for participating tonight. Thank you so much for your time. We know both of you are very busy as we are getting close to the date for individuals to show up at the polls. So again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules. For the League of Women Voters, Greater Omaha, again, my name is Terri Crawford, reminding you to inform yourselves as viewers about the issues and the candidates. And on April 6th, make sure you go vote Omaha. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.